Formula 1 has a very bizarre problem on its hands. So now that pretty much all of the 2024 liveries have been unveiled, people have been noticing a very bizarre trend with a lot of the cars. Many of them are lacking paint. Yes, each team has their colors and each car has a lot of flair to it, but if you actually look at the cars themselves, many of them are just sporting exposed carbon fiber with no actual paint. You take the Alpine, for example, there are splashes of the team's blue and pink on there, but more than half the cars actually just exposed carbon fiber with no paint at all. As well as the Haas, the McLaren also just have a lot of exposed carbon fiber, and some of the fans really don't like this. They want to see more character on these cars, they want to see more colors, and it's not going to be very good for TV or the product just in general if all the cars are starting to look the same. Now, there is a clear reason why teams are choosing to go this exposed carbon fiber route and go with minimal paint on the car, and that is because of weight savings. Yes, it might not seem like it from afar, but when these cars weigh pretty much nothing, paint actually adds a lot of weight to them. And of course, it's spread throughout the car, so it can actually make the car considerably heavier. Now, obviously, there are minimum and maximum weight requirements in every form of motorsport, especially Formula 1. However, when you aren't using all that weight in paint, it actually gives the teams a lot more freedom to sort of refine different parts that need to be refined. And of course, this is a sport that comes down to the millisecond, so obviously teams will do everything and anything they can to be better than the rest of the field, and one of the ways they're doing that is by saving paint. But obviously, at the end of the day, Formula 1 wants these teams to have clear identities, and they want them to have strong fan bases. When all the cars are starting to look very similar and bland and boring, it really has an effect on the fan morale. And it might sound crazy, but if you don't believe me, you can look at many polls online asking this exact same question. Does Formula 1 actually have to place a rule on the minimum amount of paint that you can use on your car? The majority of fans are saying yes, that rule should be implemented. We need more paint. We need these cars to look cool. I mean, look at the classic cars like the old Cannon Williams or those old Benettons with the United colors. They just pop so well. And those are the iconic cars that are going down in history. Everybody remembers those team colors. They pop so much. They're so flashy, and everybody loves seeing them. When you're starting to lose that identity because all the cars are just becoming these bare carbon shells with a few brand stickers slapped on the side of them and small splashes of color here and there, things do actually get kind of boring on the fan side of things. Now, obviously, Formula 1 teams would likely fight this if F1 tried to implement a minimum paint rule, because they are just simply trying to find the best ways to make the car as fast as possible. And let's take Alpine, for example. We know their engine is seriously down on power to the likes of the Red Bull, Honda, and the Mercedes and the Ferrari, so they need to do whatever they can to try and make up ground elsewhere, so weight savings is a big thing for them. Of course, Renault and Alpine also went to Formula 1 themselves and tried to ask them for a little bit of help with leveling the playing field with the engines. Formula 1 said, no, though, you're going to have to figure that out yourself. And obviously, that is not something that really happens overnight. You're not just going to build a better engine tomorrow and then all of a sudden you're a championship contending team. So Alpine really has to find different ways to improve their car heading into the 2024 season. And one of the easiest things to do is just paint less of the car, really. So if the teams are told eventually that yes, you have to paint the full car, you can't leave exposed carbon fiber, you're gonna have to find another place to get these weight savings, it's probably not going to go over very well, because then they have to turn around and do a lot more research and R&D that they just don't really want to do. So yeah, obviously it doesn't really seem like that big of a thing to worry about from the inside or the outside, but F1 is just trying to establish this identity, and if the fans really don't have any cars to grasp onto, if the cars are all boring and lack any character, it does actually create a problem. So now the ball is really in F1's court, and I want to know what you guys think as well. Should they implement some kind of a rule where the teams have to paint a certain amount of the car, or maybe they have to paint the whole car entirely? Or are you fine with leaving all of these exposed carbon fiber parts and having less colorful paint on the car? Does it really even matter to you? I'm curious to see what everyone else thinks about this issue, because it actually is a real dilemma that Formula 1 has on their hands right now with all of the liveries that have been unveiled for the 2024 season. So guys, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Is this a legitimate issue that F1 has to address, or are we just going to stick to the carbon fiber tubs with splashes of paint on them? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure to subscribe and leave those likes. We'll see you next time on Racing Direct.